Window open, fan on. Only the wind is invited. The room stays still while the air keeps moving. Window open, fan on. Not letting everything through, just the part that knows how to pass. I slide the window a small distance, enough to change the street sounds thin into texture, no words, just presence. The fan turns at the same speed as earlier, as if it doesn't care what time decided to be. I don't open it wider, this balance feels chosen. Window open, fan on, outside never fully enters, it overlaps with the quiet I kept. Window open, fan on. The room breathes differently without going anywhere. Curtain lifts then settles back, learning the rotation. I notice how thought thins out when the sound repeats. Nothing new arrives, nothing leaves, the air keeps working on my behalf. If I closed it all the way, the moment would end, so I don't. Window open, fan on, I let the wind decide how much of the day comes with me. Window open, fan on, the room accepts what passes through and keeps the rest. Linen shirt day, nothing lady and nothing held back. The air touches skin as it is. Linen shirt day, I leave the house lighter, not because it's warm, but because I choose it. I skip the extra layer, hang it back without thought. The fabric moves when I do not asking permission. Sun presses gently, not enough to warn me, just enough to register that this is still afternoon. I don't prepare for changes, I let the day meet me directly. Linen shirt day, the breeze stays readable, every shade finds its way through. Linen shirt day, comfort without insulation, nothing between me and the hour. Shadows pass over my shoulders, then move on. I notice how easy it feels not to adjust. The cloth cools where it should, warms where it stays, keeping track better than I could. If I added more, this would dull. So I don't. Linen shirt day, I walk at the same pace, letting air do the rest. Linen shirt day, by the time I stop, the fabric remembers where I've been. Later it will crease, that's fine. Today stays exactly this way. Waiting for the breeze, not searching the sky, just listening for the moment it arrives. Waiting for the breeze, the air stays quiet, like it's deciding whether to move or not. I stop where the shape thins, feet planted without purpose, leaves hang undecided, holding their position. Sweat cools, then warms again. The body pauses first before for the mind understands why I don't shift my weight, I don't check behind me. Stillness feels appropriate, waiting for the breeze. The weight itself feels like motion when nothing else is moving. Waiting for the breeze, I notice more because I'm not going anywhere. A faint sound passes somewhere else, not close enough. The light holds steady on the pavement. I realize how much of the day is shaped by pauses that don't announce their purpose. If I walked on now, this would vanish. So I don't wait for the breeze, I stay with the heat, knowing it won't last much longer. Waiting for the breeze, when it finally comes, it doesn't rush, it just touches. The air shifts once, then moves on. I stand a moment more, letting it pass. Bench still warm, someone left not long ago. The heat stays as if the moment didn't fully move on. Bench still warm, no sign of who it was, just a trace of weight and time. I sit where the warmth gathers, not scented, just slightly to the side. The wood holds it carefully, like it knows this isn't permanent. People pass without noticing what remains. I don't imagine their face, the temperature's enough. Bench still warm, proof without story that someone paused here long enough to matter. Bench still warm, the day keeps moving, but this spot hasn't caught up yet. The warmth fades unevenly, edges first, then the center. I notice how absence doesn't arrive all at once, it recedes in stages like light. If I stood up now, this would disappear, so I don't. Bench still warm, I stay with the remainder until it becomes just wood again. Bench still warm, even as it cools, something lingers a moment longer. Eventually it matches the air I stand. The bench stays where it is, and the day continues. I fold the paper in half, along the line it suggests numbers disappear into creases that don't ask to be remembered. The register sound fades behind me, understanding. Folded receipts small enough to keep today from scattering. Folded receipt proof without weight, carried quietly in my pocket. Folded receipt, the moment compresses into something I can move with. Paper warms against fabric, edges already softening. Ink starts to blur before I notice. I think about how easily hours become portable when you don't insist on detail. If I unfolded it again, this would reopen. So I don't fold a receipt, I don't check it twice, once was enough. Fold a receipt, the meaning stays even as the lines fade. I could throw it away, nothing would change. I keep it because I can. Fold a receipt, not evidence, just a marker that this happened. Fold a receipt in my pocket today becomes lighter. The paper bends once more with my steps. Time stays folded too. Glass half full of ice, I choose the heavier weight. Not to drink faster, but to notice what time does. The cubes stack unevenly, edges already rounding. I lift the glass once, then set it back down. Water climbs the sides without asking, each drop marking a small adjustment. I don't rush the first sip, cold presses before taste. The sound inside the glass changes gradually. I watch the line lower, not from drinking, but from becoming something else. Glass half full of ice, the moment stretches as it bends into something easier to hold. If I finished it now, this would collapse, so I let the melt continue. There's patience in choosing excess, knowing it will change anyway. Glass half full of ice, the balance shifts quietly from solid to waiting. Glass half full of ice, I stay with the transition, not the result. Eventually the cubes disappear, the glass remains, and I do too. Head carried not warm, the sun is present, but not persuasive. I keep shade in my hand. Head carried not warm, an option I don't use. Comfort stays at a distance, I choose. Light presses evenly on the street, sharp enough to warn me. The hat swings once at my side, keeping it shade. I feel the warmth register, then settle like it understands. meeting eyes briefly. I notice how choice feels lighter when it's reversible. The brim stays clean, uncreased, waiting to matter if asked. If the light changed, I would know exactly what to do. Hat carry, not worn. I walk with the sun, not against it, not away. Hat carry, not worn. The day keeps pace with my decision to wait. The street opens ahead, light stays honest. The hat remains in my hand. Borrow shade, I step just inside it. The light keeps going without needing me. The building draws a narrow line across the pavement. I follow it instinctively, feet adjusting before thought. Heat stays close but no longer presses, like it agreed to soften. Corners decide my route more than intention does. Sun flares briefly at intersections, then slips away again. I notice how comfort feels like permission to continue without explanation. Borrow shade, not something I claim, just enough cover to keep moving at ease. If I step back into the light, nothing would be lost. I just choose this side for now. There's relief in letting the day pass beside me instead of through. Borrow shade, the warmth stays visible, but it doesn't insist on being felt. Borrow shade, my pace loosens as if time adjusted to the shadow shifts, another appears. Curtain shifts slightly, that's all that moves. The room keeps its balance while the air passes through. Curtain shifts slightly, nothing else responds. The light stays where it was a moment ago. A narrow line of wind enters without direction. Fabric lifts then settles shifts slightly. That's enough evidence that time is still passing. Curtain shifts slightly, then nothing, and I stay with that. The fabric rests again, the room stays open to the next small change. Sunlight on the floor, it stretches without effort, a quiet measure of how far the afternoon has moved. The window frames it loosely, no sharp edges, light settles where it wants across wood and dust. I don't check the time, the shape tells me enough. Longer than before, thinner than earlier. I watch it slide almost imperceptibly, like it's thinking about leaving. Nothing in the room reacts except the shadow of a chair falling along without comment. Sunlight on the floor, not an announcement, just a record of time passing quietly. If I stood in it, it would disappear. So I stay back and let it remain Some moments explain themselves without words, without urgency. Sunlight on the floor, the day speaks through distance and angle alone. Sunlight on the floor, I'm noticing more, because nothing else is asking. The light keeps moving, I don't follow, I let it tell me where we are. Steps without haste, we don't match the length, only the direction agreed quietly. Your stride moves ahead, then eases. Mine lingers half a beat behind. Neither corrects the other. The pavement takes us both. Shops passing fragments, reflections bending in glass. I notice how the body finds a pace without instruction. Crosswalk lights change twice, we don't react. A bicycle slips between us, then disappears. The city keeps its own tempo, somewhere louder. Here the ground feels patient, letting each step arrive alone. Steps without haste, not slow, just unpressed. Moving forward without leaning. If I try to align us, this would tighten. So I don't, I'll let the space do the work. There's comfort in uneven timing. It leaves room to notice where we are. Steps without haste, the distance shifts but never breaks what's shared in motion. Steps without haste, the rhythm stays kind when it isn't forced into one. Footsteps separate, then return. The street listens and lets us pass. I choose the seat against the wall where movement thins out. Chairs pass in front of me, but not through. The surface feels steadier here, like the room has already decided what it won't ask of me. I don't need the center, I just need the edge to stay. Table by the wall, the noise softens into background and leaves me room. Table by the wall, nothing brushes past, the moment holds without interruption. Servers move in clean lines, conversations overlap and drift. I watch it all from a safe angle. It's easier to listen when I'm not part of the flow, just adjacent to it. If I sat closer to the aisle, this would feel temporary, so I don't. Table by the wall, the pace slows naturally, like the room adjusted for me. Table by the wall, distance becomes comfort instead of absence. Cup set down, footsteps pass, I stay. I don't watch the door, I don't track time. The wall holds my back and that's enough. Table by the wall, I let the evening move around me without pulling. Table by the wall, I finish nothing and still feel complete. The chair stays. I stand when I'm ready. The room keeps going. Cups sweat slowly, time gathers on the glass. Not from movement, but from staying exactly here. Condensation forms without hurry, a thin line, then another. I don't lift the glass yet, I watch the surface change. Cold meeting air, negotiating quietly, each drop deciding when to fall. Nothing asks me to intervene. The moment knows how to continue on its own. Cup sweat slowly, the outside tells the story, the inside keeps its temperature private. Cup sweat slowly, a visible pause marking time without counting anything. If I wiped it away, this would reset, so I don't. I let the glass remember. Drop form, drop form, drop fall. Ring appears on the table, I don't trace it. I let it spread, evidence of waiting, nothing more. Cups sweat slowly, the rhythm stays consistent, even when I stop paying attention. Cups sweat slowly, I take a sip, eventually not to finish, just to join, just to join. The glass stays cold, the table darkens. Time moves in small circles. Shape moves a little, not enough. just enough for me to notice the hour change in shape moves a little. The ground redraws its edge without asking whether I was ready. The shadow slips from the chair leg, barely a difference, but the floor feels wider than it did a moment ago. I don't check the sky, I don't need to. The light already told me what part of the day this is. Sounds outside slow down slightly, or maybe I do. The air carries a different weight, not cooler, just later. I notice how time doesn't arrive all at once, it adjusts. Nothing ends here, it only leans towards something else. Shade moves a little, that's how I know the afternoon is letting go. Gradually, shade moves a little, I stay where I am and let the room catch up. If I stood up now, the moment would break, so I don't. I sit inside the shift. No signal, no sound, just a line changing place. Time doesn't tap my shoulder, it passes beside me, close enough to feel. Shade moves a little, that's enough information. I don't need more than that. Shade moves a little, and with it the day becomes later. The shadow settles again, somewhere new. I stay where I am. Sunglasses on the table, I don't reach for them again. The light stays manageable from here without shade. Sunglasses on the table, the edge of the frame catches a line of sun that isn't asking to be softened. I set them down by habit, arms folded inward, the glass still warm from earlier. Outside brightness keeps moving, but I don't adjust. I watch it indirectly reflected in passing surfaces. I notice more when nothing filters the scene too much. Sunglasses on the table, the world stays readable even when I let the light through. Sunglasses on the table, I don't need protection, just distance measured naturally. People pass outside the window, outlines slightly blown out. I blink once, then stop. Let my eyes adjust, there's clarity in not correcting everything and letting the scene remain imperfect. I put them back on this one narrow, so I don't. Sunglasses on the table, I leave the light unmonitored for now. Sunglasses on the table, the sun keeps shifting, I stay where I can see. Later I might need them, maybe for now. The table holds what I don't use. Light under the awning, not full sun, not shadow. stay. Light under the awning, I step into it without deciding how long I'll remain. The edge of the roof cuts the glare, clean, deliberate. Heat pauses here as if it respects the line. People pass through the open street, faces briefly washed in white. I stay where contrast softens and nothing asks me to squint. I didn't look for comfort, it appeared at the right distance. Light under the awning, the day adjusted itself to something more readable. Light under the awning, I don't step forward, I don't step back, I let it hold. The brightness shifts as clouds pass, brief corrections, nothing dramatic, just small recalculations. I notice how choosing less sharpens attention, how shaken feel like permission. If I walked out fully, this would end, so I don't. Light under the awning, I stay in the margin where the afternoon slows. Light under the awning, the sun keeps moving, I remain inside this balance. Eventually the light will shift past this line. For now, it rests with me. Sleeves roll once, not all the way, just enough to fill the air. Change sleeves roll once, a small adjustment, I don't return to face. I fold the fabric carefully, one turn then stop. The cuff settles where it lands, uneven but fine. Skin meets afternoon without preparation. I start walking before deciding if this was temporary. I could roll them again, but this feels like the right amount of change. Sleeves roll once, the body notices first before the thought catches up. Sleeves roll once, not a statement, just a signal to myself. The cloud forms slowly following my movement. I forget about it until the breeze reminds me some choices don't ask to be completed. They work best left slightly open. If I roll them back down, this would disappear, so I don't. Sleeves roll once, I keep walking, letting the day touch only what it reaches. Sleeves roll once, by the time I stop, the fabric remembers where it changed. Later I'll forget why I did it, but for now, this feels right. No rush at the crossing, the light changes. I don't, something in me stays. No rush at the crossing, the signal moves on without me familiar, others step forward immediately. Shoes tapping with intent, I remain where I am, not resisting, just unclaimed by the moment. I could hurry, nothing stops me except the sense that waiting fits. No rush at the crossing, time doesn't narrow, because I paused it open slightly. No rush at the crossing, the street keeps breathing, whether I move or not. Cars pass, then thin out, the sound softens. I notice the heat on the asphalt, rising without direction. It feels easier not to match the pace set by lights and habits. If I step down now, this would align again. So I wait. No rush at the crossing, I stay with the red until it feels less like stopping and more like choosing. No rush at the crossing, when I finally move, nothing has changed except me. The next light comes, I step forward at my pace. The road accepts it. Clock checked and ignored, the numbers did their part. Now they rest while I stay unscheduled. Clock checked and ignored, time showed its face, and I looked away without apology. I glanced once just to know where the afternoon landed. The minute feels precise, almost persuasive. I nod, then put the phone down. Screen dark again, as if we both agreed that was enough. Knowing doesn't require following every time. Clock checked and ignored, awareness without commitment. I keep the information and release the plan. Clock checked and ignored, the moment widens when it isn't directed. People pass with destinations, faces leaning forward. I remain where I am, not resisting, just uninterested in being pulled by a schedule that isn't mine. If I move now, it will be because of habit, so I don't. Clock checked and ignored, time keeps going. I let it without keeping score. Clock checked and ignored, the hour passes unnoticed by choice. The clock continues, I don't, and that feels intentional. Window facing west, just wide enough to stay. Window facing west, I didn't plan for this seat. It found me by how the afternoon leans. The glass holds the sun at an angle, not direct but deliberate. Tables closer to the door feel louder. This one listens instead. The light slides in sideways, touching the floor first. Before it reaches me, I notice how time feels different when it enters from the side. Window facing west, the day slows visibly, color deepening without asking for attention. Window facing west, I sit still, letting the hour come to me gradually. People pass outside in silhouette, edges softening. The sun lowers without ceremony, just adjusting its height. I think about how endings can feel generous when they arrive with light still left. If I faced another direction, this would rush, so I don't. Window facing west, I keep my seat and let the glow finish what it started. Window facing west, even as the light thins, the warmth stays a while longer. The sun slips lower, the glass cools. I remain where the day